What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be making a trap beat for Gunna. If you're ready for this one, smash that like button for me and let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so for this one I'm thinking that we do like a guitar and some sort of like flute or similar instrument like that as the counter. So let's jump right into that and find a good guitar to use. Alright guys, so we're going to be using this Session Guitarist one. It's strummed acoustic. It actually came with the Contact complete bundle or whatever. So it's just like a strummed guitar and it has different kinds of rhythms and stuff that it does. Alright, so now this is what we have. Alright, so the first thing I did is I threw a looperator on there and I added some crazy little effects here. This first one is like a kind of like a freezing half speed kind of an effect, and I used that in two different spots here in the same spot in each segment. And then this right here is just like a tonal delay. So this is what it sounds like now with that. And I didn't even mess with any of the dry or wets on any of those. I think it sounds pretty good on top of it, just like that. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to throw this shaper box on here. I went to this pitch section right here, and I actually got the one that goes upward, so it's going to actually go upward in pitch. And it also actually ended up changing the feel of it. So it's more of like on the triplet grid now versus just regular. So this is what it sounds like with that on as well. So this is like kind of like the opposite of what halftime does. It kind of speeds it up a little bit, but this one ended up throwing it off the grid. So it's going to make all the drums and everything a little bit different. We're going to have to work with more of triplet kind of a feel than anything else, but it'll be totally fine when we get there. Okay, cool. So one thing that this shaper box plugin does is it adds like a giant delay on it. So we're actually going to have to freeze and flatten this track and then just like pull it back just to get rid of that delay. So let's do that really quick. Okay guys, so we freeze and flattened it and I went ahead and pulled it all back so it's all good and in place. One thing that I did that sounded kind of cool is right at the end of the 8-bar segment here, I just took this little chunk here and I did a reverse on it. I just pressed reverse clip. So then it sounds like this. Does that little reverse right there at the end, so it sounds kind of cool there, and it mixes it up a little bit, changes it up. Okay, so what I also did is I took the first of the note right here, so I took this note and then I copied it onto its own layer. So literally I just did that on the first of every note. I think this is every bar or every 2 bars or every half bar, something like that. So I took it and I just copied it over every bar just to make that first initial note hit a little bit harder. So without it, it sounds like this. But with it, it sounds like this. Okay, so I wanted to create a counter melody, so I went to use a flute, and I found this virtual flute, but what I liked about it is that it was like super clean, and it just went through the mix, cut through the mix really nicely. So later when we do some more mixing and stuff, I'm going to add some effects to it and change it up a little bit, but this is what that sounds like right now. So I liked how that sounded, and I wanted to go ahead and layer it with something else, so I tried a bunch of things, but what ended up sounding the best to me with the guitar and everything on top of it was more of like horns, like a brassy horn sort of a sound. So literally I just copied the same exact MIDI onto that, and I layered them together, and this is what that sounds like. So I don't know if you can even hear the flute in the background there, but it literally just brings the brights and the highs out a little bit better, makes it sound a lot better like that. So you can see I just pretty much took this MIDI here and I dragged it down 1 extra octave. It makes it feel a little bit fuller, a little bit thicker. And I think with the horns, it makes it sound a little more natural to have a little bit more bassy rhythm in there instead of just one thin line. All right, so lastly, let's go ahead and throw a bass in here now just to kind of fill up the sound spectrum and add those lows back in. You'll notice that that's a glide note right there. They kind of overlap just a little bit right there. So what I did is this ended up being a sampled bass. So what I did is I went into the controls here, just clicked on the controls, went to glide, set glide on, and put it to 111 milliseconds. That sounded pretty good to me. And then I wanted to kind of thicken it up a little bit. So something that I do every once in a while is add like a little bit of texture in the background. It just kind of thickens everything up, makes it sound kind of cool. So what I did is I went into like some one-shot kits that I had, and I found this texture that I really liked. It almost sounded like some like Japanese like cymbals and kind of ambiance or something like that. So this is what that sounds like. All right, let's get a clap on this joint. That snare sounds cool with that clap. Okay, so for the hi-hats, we're gonna actually put the hi-hats in the triplet grid and go from there. So like I said, some of these drums are gonna be a little bit different because since that melody is kind of like triplet oriented, so we're gonna change some of our drums to match that, and it's gonna sound pretty cool as a result. Okay, so I went ahead and threw this together. It's mostly just a triplet grid straight to the line, and there's like a little bit of a roll right here, and a little double right here, and that's pretty much literally it. Oh, and I got rid of some of these notes as well. So this is what that sounds like now. Next, I got just a crash to come in every 8 bars on the start of the new segment there, so this is just what it sounds like. Alright, let's get an open hi-hat in here now. Woo! This one is coming out super hard. Alright, let's try to throw a perk in here. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We really have enough right now to where it's going to be perfectly fine, but if we can get a perk in some little crevice in some little spot, then so be it. Let's try it out. So just a little conga to come in right before the snare and clap come in right there. And we're just going to have this come on like every other part of the drop or something like that. It's not going to be playing the whole time. So for the 808s, we're definitely going to have to do some stuff with the triplets and things like that to kind of move it around and make it feel right. It's going to give it more of like a swaggy type of a bounce to it. Okay, so I have the basic outline for the 808 pattern ready. And one thing I want to show you is this is without triplet grid on, so this is just regular grid right now. And as you can see, this is way off here. So this is where I implemented that kind of swaggy stuff that we talked about. So if I turn the triplet grid on right now, you'll see that it lines up perfectly right there. So there's 3 beats in this little section right here, and this is on the last beat, so the 3rd beat there. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3. So it comes in right there. So it sounds like this. It's a little bit bouncy, but it sounds really good, and it moves with that melody really well because of that. So it almost like swings in there. It sounds really cool. And we did the same thing here. As you can see, it comes in on that 3rd part right there, that 3rd triplet in that section. So we did that with this part as well. Just this note though. Besides that, it's straight to the point, just a basic 808 pattern. We don't need anything crazy because we're already kind of going crazy with the drums a little bit. All right, so I wanted to mix it up just a little bit so each section isn't the same 808 pattern. So we have a second 808 pattern, a second set of 8 bars pattern that we just made right here. Pretty much the same. As you can see, this part's the same. We added 1 note in here. We got a little bit of a roll right here at the end. This is a little bit different. It's more straight to the punch. So let's just listen to it. So it sounds really good, goes with that melody really well as well. It's bouncing with those triplets and that crazy vibe. It's sounding like a smoke show up in this bizoink. Okay, so we threw a kick in here, but literally all I did was take the 808 notes, put them all on C, and call it a day. So it sounds like this now. Holy smokes, I can't wait to show this one to you guys. But really quick, thank you so much for watching this all the way to the end. If you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because we're uploading tutorials like this all the time that you're not going to want to miss out on. Besides that, guys, please smash that like button for me if you haven't already, so we can get this video moving and other producers can see it as well. Okay, so I did a little bit of mixing on this. Didn't really have to do that much, to be completely honest. And then I arranged it to just a basic arrangement to this, as you guys will see in just a second. And this is how that finished beat came out. Peace out, guys, and I'll be seeing you again in the next one.
Fearless, run it up.